Hello guys, welcome back to Cassette Confessions. In this video we're looking at Toddlers from 1999. Hands down, favourite compilation of all time. Really good VHS. I have fond memories of it. It's a really good one, quite varied in its shows really. We have 11 shows, different types really. Mainly from a good portion from the 80s to the 90s as well. Well, from 80s, 90s of course. But it's a very varied selection it is, you know, from 2D animation to live action to puppetry till stop motion as well. So it's a good varied selection really, and it has a decent amount of memorable shows on this one. So it's worth talking about. Before we start, this is actually sort of part of an ongoing thing, like a video thing, which was actually doing for the Action for Children NSPCC as well. So this is a video for charity actually, so it's pretty interesting. There was another one that I covered before, which was the anniversary cartoon collection. That actually belonged to a charity as well, Action for Children or Save the Children or something. And yeah, so it's basically come back to this one. So, you know, like talk about specific charity things. There have been VHSs released like this beforehand, actually, from the late 80s. So in 1987, you had NSPC's Children's TV Favourites in 1987. Then you had the second volume of that in 1992. And then you got My Best Friends from 1993, and its follow-up, My Best Friends 2 from 1994. And there was nothing else came afterwards until 1999 with Toddlers. So there's that's a little bit of insight about what to expect from this. You know, it's a charity video. They put all the companies who actually owned their TV programs at the time, you know, the properties, basically just, you know, like thought, you know, let's put them all together, you know, and put a decent selection on here, and that's what they did. So let's get into it now. So we open up with the episode of Kipper. A really good show, and I think it's fantastic. I used to read the books as well. It's the paddling pool. It's a fantastic episode. This is one of my absolute favourites. This is. It's just Kipper just going through a heat wave, of course. You know, just like everything's hot. He finds his old paddling pool and decides to patch it up and just sit in it for a good amount of the day. And all stuff happens, of course, involving hailstones and punctures and everything else. It's a funny, nice episode, of course, and it's ideal. It is. It's just funny. It's like. It's got Martin Clunes as well as the voice of Kipper as well, so it's brilliant. You know, it's very top-notch. It's a nice opera, it is. So, there you go. Next up we've got is Postman Pat. This is Postman Pat in the Hole in the Road. This is actually the very first episode of the second series, actually, from 1996. Again, this is a really good one. One of my all-time favourite episodes. I think people actually suggest this is a good one. It's very witty in places of all. The dialogue is just fantastic. Its story idea is relevant as well. It deals with potholes in the road, and hence titled Hole in the Road. Of course, the funny thing is, it's a tiny pothole that PC Selby has blocked off in the entire roads into Thompson ground and all sorts of stuff. And it's like, you know, it causes delays and all sorts of ruckus and chaos, really, amongst the villagers. And obviously, you know, Pat Ted and obviously Alf Thompson decide to sort it out. I mean, with PC Selby, of course, he's very sort of adamant, you know, like, you know, we must do this proper, you know, and just try and report them or something like that. Like, it's just like, okay, it's like, it's a bit, well, I think with PC Selby, of course, it's a bit like that, really, to be honest. Just trying to be inquiries, doing his job and everything else. So, but it's a good one. Ending scene, of course, with PC Selby in a wheelbarrow because he gets stuck in the tarmac that's taken put down. He hasn't trodden it, has he? And all sorts of stuff. Really good line as well. I think and also it's ending as well. Like they have to take him back in a wheelbarrow. They said, "Will you stop wriggling, otherwise I'll drop you." And that's what I think Alf Thompson says, you know, to Selby, of course. Takes him back to the farmhouse in a wheelbarrow. Funny. It's an absolute great episode, that is. I mean, it's a funny start to open up a series with this one, so it's ideal. Next up we've got is William's Wish Wellingtons. I think this is the last time I'm going to talk about William's Wish Wellingtons on the series, of course, and it's William the Conqueror, which I've actually discussed back in the BBC Children's Favourites VHS of all time, ever 95 BBC compilation. So there's not much to talk about. It's just a good episode. I think, in regards, it's one of my favourite episodes, of course, because I've seen it many times. Same with many other ones as well. Many other TV shows that tend to pop up as well. Yes, so it's a good one. Nothing much to say about that one, but it's a good one. Next we've got is Pingu, which is Pingu goes cross country skiing or cross country. It says at the back of the VHS. It's a good one actually. Him and one of his friends get their skis and just go like it's like a ski rally or something like that, or like again cross country skiing. You just go miles away on course of skiing. Stuff happens involving another skier, of course, and stuff skates get broken and everything else, and by first this all share one, and it's like it's just there really. It's just like this all stuff Pingu tends to happen in Pingu most of the time. So really, yeah. I'm not too sure where this episode actually comes from, which VHS it comes from. It might come from later down the line in the late 90s. Who knows? But it's a nice one. It's decent. And then we've got Tots TV. I thought I'd never talk about Tots TV again. But we've got this one episode, of course, Super Tiny. It's a nice little funny one. Tiny pretends to be a superhero, wears I think it's his blanket or a towel or something around him, of course, and just runs around the whole place, the whole the whole college and everything else, and just causing chaos, knocking over Tom and Tilly, of course, while doing their everyday jobs. Also, good use of a green phone as well. That is tiny calling machine or something. So it's pretty interesting, really good, and fantastic. I would say, well, it's a funny one. It's a decent little cork around and interesting enough. Next up we go is Fun Sun Factory. Something that Tempo Video actually did beforehand many times. It's got Justin Fletcher and Dave Benson Phillips, of course. There's some guy called Foggy, was it Foggy or was it Fonzie? I don't know, I forgot his name. That yellow dog. Same Factory, of course, involves singing and dancing, focusing on colours this time. Actually, the segment itself is actually pretty good. It's an excerpt, but it's done nicely too. So it's not grating or anything like that. So, or heavily edited or heavily wrong, but it's nicely done because you introduce sort of a wide range of characters like the paintball puppets, which I do like actually, and that scene, of course, with the kids trying to after their sort of favourite dish. Favourite coloured plate, of course. So like, I want a green one, I want a yellow one, I want a blue one, I want a purple one. Even though the purple one looks like it's black, it's like, I want a purple one. It's black. What do you expect? That's a little niggle that is. That's a little niggle that is, unfortunately. With that sort of bit really, but fair enough. It's decent, it is, and it's like you can skip over it. It's just like it's just there really. Then we've got the Adventures of Spot. Spot's back. Spot stays overnight. So this actually is in the state, like William the Conqueror appeared on the VHS. This appeared on Preschool Fun Time, which I own. Again, it's a good episode. It's one of my favourites. So I've seen it a few times, of course. So it's on there. Not much to say about it, but just Spot staying overnight with his monkey friend. That's all. So there you go, which is included. Where else do we go from here? Let me think. Kipper, Postman Pat, Miss Mountains, Pingu, Tots TV, Fun Sun Factory, Spot, Adventures of Pirate and Bear. Now this is the Nirvana, a Canadian version. This is that came out in the late 90s, about 97 this came out. This did Jonathan Kidd, who I think I remember from promos that he did on VCI, actually, the VCI Jones promos. He was the narrator on that one. He also did stuff like Astro Farm and as well, a few bits and pieces here and there. He still does ads anyway, so he's still around doing stuff, so good for him. Does a decent voice in Paddington, actually. It's a very, very slick animation, very stylish, very colourful, very interesting. Its Paddington goes on the ground, so it's basically sort of an instant classic. It's a very good one actually, because it involves dogs, Paddington having bacon in his suitcase, of course, getting across the wrong trains, having confrontations with a Muslim train guard or conductor or whatever, or staff member, and was it Hindu or whatever? I think I shouldn't be doing this. I think it's Hindu actually. Yeah, it's probably Hindu. When I say Muslim, it's Hindu. Sorry. Unfortunately, yeah, but it's a decent one. It's a little fun around, and the music's so bad. The music, Tal music is actually decent. It's decent enough, He is friendly and polite, and that sort of thing. You know, it's like, it's very old schooly, but very soft charming as well. So, even though I always prefer the original version from the 70s TV series, so I think yes, it's more interesting. It sort of has a similar thing with it, but it's just there really. Next up, we've got Thomas Attention Friends, Thomas's Train. I've already talked about this many times. It's appeared on a few VHSs beforehand. The A6 Thomas Attention Friends video. Thomas's Train is another one. My Lord Thomas Attention Friends video was another one. And this is another one. So it's appeared many times. It's a favourite of mine. I've seen it many times. I've done a few videos as well. Have it on the few tapes I mentioned. It's just there. It's just there really, but it's a good one. Then we got Sooty's Amazing Adventures. Now this is actually a 2D animated show based on Sooty. I've talked about Sooty beforehand. A bit of a snippet of a stage show from the 80s and from the early 80s actually. This is from around about 1996. Matthew Corbett, I think, actually wanted to make a 2D animated series, adventure series with Sooty and the gang, of course. Interesting enough, you know, Sweep, Scampy and Sue have voices, but Sooty's still mute, he has no mouth, he does. But even though he wears red dungarees. But it's interesting, I mean, Jimmy Hibbert does some work as well. I think he voices Sweep, actually. Very good, actually. It sort of suits that character anyway, like very risky. I don't know if, I've forgotten the name. She does the voice of Sue. I think she's done it on those. Or is it someone different? I don't know. But it's a funny one. It's called Scampy and the Computer Chip. It's like they invented a cleaning robot that goes AWOL, very much around a theatre that they actually are in. And involves, like, you know, a very sort of posh cat who's basically like one of the owners, someone who is actually owned, or a sort of an actress, I think. I don't know really. But it's interesting. It's an interesting, funny little story, and the opening music is actually used at the beginning of the video as well as its towel card. Like, it introduces the characters in like balloons and stuff, and it uses the towel theme for this show on. So it gives it more a carnival-esque style to it, of course. Like, it's more to be joyful and more fun and stuff like that. So it's good actually. It's a decent one. And finally, we end with Barney. Barney's musical scrapbook. Barney the dinosaur. Oh my God, Jesus Christ! I've only seen this episode of Barney because he was included in the VHS. I know about his legacy and everything else, what the internet's done to the thing, and rightly so. It's quite horrifying, terrifying. I've seen shows that actually are less creepy than this. Of course, I mean, to be honest, it's just a purple dinosaur, but people can be frightened of him, of course. And with the power of the internet over the years, it's sort of made it a bit more savage and a bit more, really. And to be fair, I don't really know. I mean, in fairness, the theme's a bit, it's a bit sort of, it's corny, less interesting, and just there really. I mean, it's quite creepy. I mean, people think it's quite creepy because he's around children and stuff like that. Like, it's very, yeah, it's quite, you know, I thought Tay Bear's, it's that same vein of Tay Bear sing along and everything else. Like, it's that cringe-worthiness of like those people just being around kids and stuff. It's like, yes, I know. But overall, I might have seen it a few times, but other times I just turned it off. Like, after Sully's Magic Adventures, I just basically, you know, eject the video afterwards. I can't be bothered. I can probably stomach through Barney and probably watch the episode. Other times I just basically just like stop it and just like, that's it. You know, I can't be bothered to go and sit through that again. If you know me, when I was young, so because I didn't really find him interesting at all. You know, but if you look back on it, you know, like, it's just, again, just doing, playing instruments, doing, like, you know, finding Mrs. Scrabble, just doing all those bits and pieces, doing music and stuff. So, that's fair. That's it, really. Colonel Toddlers, all-time favourite compilation of all time. It really shows. I have such fond memories of watching these most of the time. It's very good. I mean, I probably got this when it was released back in 1999, so I was about 2 years old with this thing. Had this for years, still have it. It's fabulous. Fantastic VHS, really good stuff. You know, very mixed. It's a shame that Gondorf never actually got something like this. You know, like, he would praise the shit out of this, of course, because it's got a mixture of bits and pieces that he probably enjoyed. You know, like he's talked about on his video memories. Sadly, he hasn't really. So, who knows? Probably if time travel was invented, probably go back to maybe his younger years and probably just drop at his doorstep or something, and probably reinvent the wheel, if you know what I mean. But who knows? That's just a little weird little thought, dreamy thought, if you know what I mean. That sort of thing. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching Corner Toddlers from 999. Fantastic compilation. As always, thank you guys. See you for the next video. See ya.